Thank you very much, Akan Bey. Dear friends, dear colleagues, I know that we are a little bit late, and therefore I'm going to be as short as possible. But first, let me start by thanking Dr. Hakan Suver and Marmara Group Foundation for organizing a great summit, which is one of the best platforms in both continents. And I'm very grateful to you, Dr. Hakan, for being the platform in order to understand, in order to explain, but also in order to discuss the most urgent issues as we are seeing today, as we saw yesterday. 25 years ago, we believed that Kosovo would be the last war in Europe, and that Kosovars would be the last nation to face genocide. Today, we are facing a return of war, but also a return of crimes against humanity in both in Europe and Asia. I fully agree with what former Prime Minister of Romania, Mr. Roman, said, and what Verteidigungsminister Fasselabend also said in terms of how they view their geopolitical situation. And therefore, I'm going to make just some remarks how I see that. Certainties of the global liberal order are dissolving because the order which was created and emerged after 1945 and mostly after 1999 is everywhere under the attack. The old order is dying, but the new one has not yet been born. We are in an interregnum. We are living between the two world orders. As someone who was quite long in Kosovo politics, and together with my friend Mahir Yakjilar, we built a state from scratch. And our job was to put Kosovo on the map. I understand that diplomacy, dialogue, and peace is more important, not by reading some books or writing some books, but by how we lived that as a personal experience. Therefore, what both Prime Minister Roman and also Minister Fasselabend said, I'm going to make just some 4 or 5 very linear remarks. First, today we are facing a return of the 19th century logic. Might is right, of power politics. Therefore, Russian war in Ukraine, China's assertive policy in Asia, regional conflicts now between Pakistan and India, in Middle East, in Africa, are reflecting that the norm-based international order is collapsing. Second, we are facing also a crisis of multilateralism. Let me give you some example. United Nations Security Council is largely paralyzed, dominated by vetoes and competing interests of the great powers. Other multilateral fora are losing credibility and functionality. For example, who cares today or who pays attention today what OSCE is saying in Europe or what WTO says globally? Number 3, just by reading the today headlines, we see that peacekeeping missions are failing or they are underfunded, like in Mali or DRC. What kinds of challenges do peace and dialogue face today? First, fragmentation, more actors, more veto players, less consensus. Second, distrust between East and West, between global South and North, between the state and the society. Peace processes are often used to buy time or increase pressure, not as a genuine commitments to conflict resolution. It is very concerning how dialogue and diplomacy are perceived today. Dialogue is often seen as a weak and naive in the face of force. It is true, force might win a war, but it can never build a just peace. Let me conclude by saying that we need a new peace paradigm in this new geopolitical interregnum. And peace must go beyond ceasefires and treaties. It must involve justice, inclusion, dignity, and recognition of injustice. Dialogue should be protected and promoted today as strategic resilience, not as a weakness. While we are living between the two world orders, neither of which offers clarity, predictability, stability, and security, it is very important to see dialogue not as a moral imperative, but as a strategic necessity. Dr. Akan Bey, I'm very grateful to you for being the most important platform in the last 40 years. I wish you all the best for your great job which you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.